The Dyatlov Pass Incident. In January 1959, 9 young Soviet hikers set out on a winter expedition through the northern Ural Mountains. They were not amateurs. Each of them was experienced, physically strong, and accustomed to extreme cold. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a disciplined and methodical engineering student. Their goal was to complete a high-difficulty route that would earn them official certification. Before leaving, they took photographs, smiling and relaxed, unaware that these images would later become the last proof that they were alive. On the night of February 1st, the group set up their tent on the slope of a mountain known to the local Mansi people as Kholat Shakhl, a name that translates to Mountain of the Dead. Sometime during that night, something went terribly wrong. The hikers cut their way out of the tent from the inside, abandoning it in a state of panic. They fled into the freezing darkness, some barefoot, others wearing only light clothing despite temperatures dropping below -30 degrees Celsius. They did not take their boots, their coats, or their supplies. What is even more disturbing is that they did not run chaotically, but instead moved downhill in an organized manner, as if whatever terrified them was still above them, watching. Weeks later, rescue teams arrived and discovered the tent still standing, food untouched, equipment neatly left behind. The first bodies were found near the edge of the forest, frozen to death, partially undressed, likely suffering from paradoxical undressing caused by severe hypothermia. But the remaining bodies told a far darker story. Several hikers had massive internal injuries, crushed skulls, shattered ribs, trauma comparable to a high-impact car accident. And yet there were no external wounds, no visible signs of violence. One victim was missing her tongue. Others were missing their eyes. There were no signs of a struggle, no evidence of another group, no animal tracks. As the investigation continued, the evidence became even more unsettling. Some of the victims' clothing showed unusually high levels of radiation. The hikers' watches had stopped at different times, suggesting a sudden and chaotic event. Investigators found no proof of an avalanche, no record of extreme weather that night, and no explanation that fit all the facts. The official report concluded with a chilling and vague statement. The hikers had died due to an unknown compelling force. Shortly after, the case was sealed and many of the documents were classified for decades. Over the years, countless theories have emerged. Some suggest secret military tests. Others propose rare natural phenomena such as infrasound capable of inducing overwhelming panic. There are theories of structural snow collapse, psychological breakdown, or human error. Yet every explanation falls apart when faced with one undeniable fact. 9 trained hikers abandoned the safety of their tent in deadly cold and chose to face certain death rather than return. Whatever they encountered that night was more terrifying than freezing to death. Today, the Dyatlov Pass remains a place of silence and unanswered questions. The mountain still stands unchanged, indifferent. The truth of what happened that night has never been fully uncovered, and perhaps it never will be, because some places do not simply kill the body, they break the mind first. The Hinterkaifeck Murders. In the spring of 1922, on a remote farmstead in Bavaria, Germany, a family lived in near total isolation. The farm was called Hinterkaifeck. Weeks before the tragedy, the owner, Andreas Gruber, reported strange occurrences. Footprints in the snow leading from the forest to the house, but none leading back. Tools went missing. Footsteps were heard in the attic at night. A maid quit suddenly, claiming the house was haunted. No one took the warning seriously. On March 31st, a new maid arrived. That same night, something lured members of the family one by one into the barn. There, they were brutally murdered with a mattock, a farming tool similar to a pickaxe. Andreas, his wife Cecilia, their daughter Victoria, and Victoria's 2 small children were all killed. The maid, who had only been there for hours, was murdered inside the house. The killings were methodical, silent, and horrifyingly personal. Days passed. Neighbors noticed smoke still rising from the chimney. Animals were fed. Meals appeared to have been cooked. When authorities finally entered the farm, they discovered something deeply disturbing. The killer had not fled. Evidence suggested that whoever committed the murders remained in the house for several days, sleeping in the beds, eating food from the kitchen, and tending to the livestock, while the bodies lay hidden nearby. The investigation went nowhere. No suspect was ever charged. The weapon was found on the property. The crime scene was contaminated by curious villagers before proper examination. Theories ranged from robbery to family secrets, but none explained the footprints, the attic noises, or why the killer stayed behind. Even decades later, the case remains unsolved, studied by criminologists and historians alike. Hinterkaifeck was demolished shortly after. A small memorial now stands where the house once was. Yet the fear lingers because this was not a crime of chaos or rage. It was quiet, patient, calculated, and the most terrifying possibility remains unanswered. The family may have known someone was already inside the house long before they were killed. The Villisca Axe Murders. In the early morning hours of June 10, 1912, in the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, an entire family was wiped out while they slept. Josiah Moore, his wife Sarah, their 4 children, and 2 young girls who were staying over that night were murdered inside their own home. The weapon was an axe taken from the house itself. The killer struck silently, methodically, moving from room to room in the darkness. What makes the crime especially disturbing is the care taken by the murderer. After killing the family, he covered their faces with sheets and clothing as if hiding them from view. Mirrors in the house were covered. Food was prepared. A bowl of water was left beside the axe, as though the killer had calmly washed up before leaving. There were no signs of struggle, no screams were reported. The town slept while 8 people were slaughtered just yards away. When the bodies were discovered later that morning, the scene was beyond comprehension. The blows were excessive, brutal, and personal. Even the children were struck with devastating force. There was no clear motive. Nothing was stolen. The house showed no sign of forced entry. It appeared the killer had entered with confidence, possibly knowing the layout, possibly knowing the family. The investigation quickly collapsed into chaos. Crime scene procedures were non-existent. Curious townspeople walked through the house, touching evidence, contaminating everything. Several suspects were named, interrogated, and released. Confessions were rumored, then dismissed. Trials ended without convictions. No one was ever officially held responsible for the murders. Today, the Villisca house still stands. Visitors claim to hear footsteps, voices, and the sound of children crying. Objects move. Doors open on their own. Whether or not one believes in the paranormal, the terror of Villisca does not rely on ghosts. It lies in something far worse. The certainty that a human being walked into a family's home, killed 8 sleeping people with patience and silence, and was never caught. The axe was left behind. The killer was not, and somewhere for the rest of his life, he slept peacefully, knowing no one would ever come for him.